Huzzah! Okay. I've got the stream set up. What's up, Jared Punch? How's it going? I'm hoping everything works. I've been working on my Streamlabs, hoping it will function as it should. And it seems to be coming off like that. I've got it set up that hopefully show, like, if anybody subscribes during the stream, if anybody donates and whatnot, because that's what I need to make sure that functions properly, because why would I not want it to, for one? But at the same time, I like I said, I enjoy it when the notifications come up, because then people get it's a whole different feeling. You get that nice little acknowledgement for what you did. What's up, Bladius? How's it going? Yeah, we're doing good. This has been a second super solid week in a row from Hiro Mashima, as he drops all of the game stuff, Acnologia backstory in the anime, and then we got Heroes, which is going to be by itself extremely exciting. I can't wait for that. I don't know if it's gotten an exact date in October, but in October. And I'm just assuming right now, like mid-October. But who knows how it could be, who knows how it'll end up, who knows how it's going to turn out. Regardless of which, I am extremely just hyped up for it, because as I did a video yesterday talking a little bit about it, and the level of hype that has on top of it for potential it holds is much larger than just as it's presented. Because the thing about it is, it's not just called the title of Hiro Mashima's works. It's called Heroes, and it specifically is being made for the magazine itself, for Weekly Shonen magazine. It's its 60th anniversary, so it could end up having a higher elated status. Like, what if they want to bring in other main characters from other works? Like, right now, Fire Force is, doing really well. What if they want to bring Shinra in? What if they want to bring in Meliodas? There's a lot of potential that they can really stack on to this whole project and turn it into more of like some form of event that can tie into the magazine itself, and not just Hiro Mashima, which I think would be a much better option, because of I just saw a weird picture on my timeline as I was talking. Some dude eating a mouse? I don't know, but yeah, it's gotten a lot of attention. It's got a lot of straight love from the fandom. So we're definitely going to be getting a lot of justice as it is, and that is going to just by itself really hype up everything going on with the fandom. And like the game coming out is really like bringing people either back to the series or giving them attention to the series, and all around it's just giving a extra like juiced up time for fairy tale, but also just Hiro Mashima's works in general. And because of that, I'm so excited for that alone to really just vitalize a bunch of what's going on. And then here we got Heroes about to boost that again. And who even knows? Because we didn't know anything about the game coming out. We didn't know anything about Acnologia getting... Well, we knew a little bit about Acnologia's backstory. We didn't know about the game. And then like a week later, it's like, hey, oh yeah, I'm also doing this gigantic crossover series that's going to be weekly, and during that we're going to be getting 100 Years Quest on a weekly basis. So, as far as we know, tomorrow he could drop another crazy thing. He could drop some other, like, absurd, announcement to us. Oh, I'm also going to be doing a crossover with blah blah, whatever, another series. It could happen. And that alone has just got me, like, always waiting. Further anticipation of what exactly Hiro Mashima is going to bring. Yeah, I'm pretty hyped for that crossover, too. It's actually amusing seeing people get excited over Asuyuno versus True Licht when we know it's like the fourth best fight of the arc. I mean, yeah, there's a bunch up and coming that are going to be amazing. They juiced up the anime so well, and that was fantastic. And that's really what I go to watch animes for. When I've already read the manga, I want to see scenes beefed up, and that's what I really appreciate about Black Clover's anime over a lot of animes, because you can still have shot for shot scene, which is still like, it's enjoyable as long as they don't cut stuff out or ruin the scene, then you're gonna be happy. But when it comes to like fights and stuff, you enjoy the fight because it's a cool fight. We're having good character moments and important growth scenes. But one of the things everyone across the board loves is just good looking fights because it's you're reading or watching a battle shonen. You can't say, "Oh, you just like fights and action." It's like, well, I like other stuff, but clearly I do enjoy fights and action. So yeah, I want that as well on top of everything else. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how they, go about these other scenes. Black Divider, I can only imagine how great that's going to look animated. And that needs to be animated. Like, any of the Asta and team-up scenes need to be well animated above any other aspect of this arc. That is, in my opinion, were the most hype portions of the Elf Resurrection arc in total. Yeah, Mashima-verse Infinity War. Actually, I went by Mashima-verse, but there was an announcement, I don't know when it was, a couple months ago, but he called it Mashima World, his whole, collection of series. So I'm wondering if he was referencing that at the time. So, as it is now, I've been going by Mashima World anytime I notice it. Dekubako and Todoroki internship team. It's going to be nice to see him operate. Endeavor is being still his jerky self. You think he would have gotten over a little bit more and been somewhat nicer. I mean, yeah, it's like what was it? The only reason that Todoroki started using his fire sight is because of Deku. Maybe he should, be a little bit nicer to him about it. Acnologia went from being a mere doctor to being most dangerous threat in all of fairy tales. So, Acnologia's whole backstory I really enjoy already because you're able to get a really good understanding of his character right off the bat, and you're able to get a very short compiled story of who he was. It was only like 2.5 minutes, but you're able to piece that into other things we already know, so you can figure out, like, you don't need to know, like, oh, what happened? Why did the dragons come back all messed up? Okay, we know about the dragon civil war that went on between the two sides. We know how dragon slaying magic really, came to be. So we don't need to find out, like, oh, did they actually find dragon slaying magic? What was that all about? We already know from Irene's backstory. They just got to keep tying things over, and I enjoy that aspect. I'm wondering if they're going to be able to do more with the Dragon Gods. Because one thing I did like about the Dragon Gods is they had direct ties to Acnologia. But we didn't know many in-depth specifics. We didn't get any flashbacks for it. And I'm wondering if Hiro Mashima was waiting until after his whole backstory is revealed in the anime. That way we don't get spoilers for what happens, what we're getting revealed now. And it would, make it a little bit more special. And then afterwards we can get some flashbacks, see more into it, expand upon that story, which I think would be really cool. Because we're also then at that point seeing it from other people's perspectives, whereas right now we're seeing it from Acnologia's perspective. What is this stream about? Have you seen Heroes? So if you haven't seen X Pikachu, Hiro Mashima, the mangaka for the 60th anniversary of the Weekly Shonen magazine, as a whole, is doing a big crossover of all his series, and he's going to be doing a weekly series of that, of Rave Master, Fairy Tail, and Eden Zero. That's just the title and the picture I wanted to use because I was really hyped about it. In reality, this stream, if you have a question, you can go ahead and ask. It's got no specific formats. I usually just pick, a picture or a spread from the week and that I really like and put it out there. Whatever I was most hyped about, put it up there. If Black Clover gets the best, has the really great scene that I think is better than the other ones of the week, I'll put that up there. A big event from Chainsaw Man, I'll put that up there. But Heroes was just, this whole announcement is so hype, and I'm so excited for everything. Yeah, it's going to be a new manga. It doesn't have a precedent amount of time that it's going to be airing. I'm guessing it'll be at least somewhere around 8 volumes. It might be 5 or 6 if the first chapter is chapter 1 size, because usually chapter 1s are somewhere between high 50s to early 70s numbers. They're extra thick to get you into everything. But my overall kind of estimation is what Heroes will lay out to be will be a volume, at least. I guess it wouldn't make sense for you just to have 1 chapter. It would make sense to have 2 chapters. My guess is it'll be at least a volume. So that's going to be pretty sweet. And then we're going to be getting weekly 100 Years Quest chapters during that time, which is going to be even more exciting. And I've got so much stuff to go over. I'm gonna have so much stuff to go over on this channel. And what's funny is when I get like a bunch of chapters dropped at the same time that I want to read, because like sometimes on once a month when Attack on Titan comes out, it comes out about like the same day. Like 100 Years Quest, because it's the beginning of the month. Eden Zero, Seven Deadly Sins, Eden Zero. Yeah, you get Eden Zero, Fairy Tail, Seven Deadly Sins, and Attack on Titan all at once. And it's like, shit, I got 4 things I gotta review within the next like 2 or so hours. And, you know, it can get like a little overwhelming, but I'm extremely excited for the amount of things. I get to do 100 Years Quest every week, I get to do Heroes every week, I get to do Eden Zero every week. And then not including theories and discussions, not including other series involved. It's just those specific series, and that alone is going to be extremely hyped for. I'm so amped to see these series go down. Hey, what's up, Vindic Z? How's it going, man? I don't know if I've seen you in my streams before, but welcome. Austin, you know, friendship powered like nope. Oh yeah, that was the whole meme for that whole scene. Is they had their, you know, rivalry boost moment. They had the theme song playing, and Lick still just, you know, noped them right out of the fight. Homura versus Urza is something I want to see. The fight, the interactions I really want to see. I want to see Musica, Gray, and Wise, because that one I think was extremely intriguing. But I also want to see Urza and Elsie, because the whole thing about the thing about like a lot of the characters in Eden Zero, people like for some reason think that they're straight copies because they have similar faces, but that's just because it's Hiro Mashima's art style. And then like what Wendy and Lobelia, nothing about them is alike except their hair is blue, and it's just like you guys are reaching so hard. But Elsie and Justice are, you know, they're Urza and Jalal but switched in position, where Elsie is the criminal and Justice is the, you know, the person of little named Justice who's constantly trying to apprehend her and bring her to the law. And, you know, it's just kind of an eternal game of cat and mouse. And I think that is extremely intriguing because I really liked Urza and Jalal's kind of like back and forth character dynamic and the way it was. And it will be really cool to see how Hiro Mashima plans it out in this time. Because you have 2 characters that look the same on purpose, Urza and Elsie, but it's just 2 have that similar appearance, but flip their entire, pretty much their whole layout, which will make them, you know, very, very nice to see kind of performed. I mean, you could kind of look at it similar to how she was with Nightwalker, but Nightwalker was like a person of the military of Edelus, and they were doing what they thought was right. Elsie is just a straight scummy space pirate, so I don't know. That one is going to be cool. And when I talked about, like, if Hiro Mashima wants to bring in more outside of just his main 3, like, not even including other series like Fire Force and Seven Deadly Sins, if he wanted to bring in, like, characters from his other works, because as we know it's a crossover his works, he could bring in his other characters. He could bring in Aki for Monster Soul, the Forgotten Seasonal Boy. They could bring in characters from his one-shots. Like, well, one thing that would be really funny, because you don't have to keep in continuity because it's an Elseworlds story, assumingly, you can have Seekheart, Jalal, Mystogan, and Justice all meet up and talk about eye tattoos and argue about, like, you know, who got when where. And then you have Hiro Mashima's original main character, Magic Illusion, show up and be like, you guys really must liked my performance to get an eye tattoo like me. Because I always thought that's a really interesting trivia fact for, like, Hiro Mashima stuff. Is people always say that Jalal is a copy of Seekheart just because he's got the similar he's got a similar design, but really that's about it. They have different kind of like aspects in the story of personalities, different kind of journeys they go through. But Jalal, though, has the mark, but so does, on his eye, rather. But so does, you know, Seekheart. But Seekheart has that on his eye because Hiro Mashima's original main character, Magic Illusion, from his one-shot Magician, had that as well. Carried it over into Rave Master, really liked Seekheart, and, you know, he wanted to keep that tradition up. That's why we now have Justice, who his ether gear comes over his eye in that same kind of formation, which is extremely cool. I like that ongoing themes, kind of like Mildian. Mildian was in Rave Master, Fairy Tail, and now it's in Eden Zero. Mary Leon is ticked off about Aston, you know, stealing her animation. The thing is about that whole scene. I'm a Mary Leona fan, so I was really like, I was bummed out that she didn't get like some absurd animation scene like she did the first time. But Austin, you know, their scene is more important because it was not only like it was episode 100, But 2, it was a really big, important scene for... You finally saw the main character and his rival have a really sick tag team match. That scene where they're standing beside each other with their forms, popped on at the same time, and you have them mirrored to each other is one of my favorite scenes in the entire arc, if not one of my favorite scenes in all of Black Clover. So I knew that whole episode had to... Well, maybe not the whole episode. The important scenes had to look good. And that second half was just fantastic. The whole licked fight was beautiful. Imagine Austin, versus Word Devil. Can you imagine how crazy shit is gonna be in the anime? Remember what they did with Rill? Now think about what they'll do with constraints on imagination. Dude, that scene is gonna be great. That fight is gonna be fantastic. I don't imagine straight up the whole thing, but really the important parts are gonna be good. And there's no way they're gonna... Oh, hang on a second. Get down from there, you goofy cat. Get down. Come here. Get down. Get down. Get off the bookshelf, you goof. Yeah, there's no way that they're gonna do Black Divider dirty. That scene, it's a big scene for Austin as well, because now he developed anti-spells. So he's going to be able to that's a big moment for him, not just being oh, cool, a new form. It's it's not a technique. He just straight has an anti-spell, which is intriguing all in its own. And plus it looks sick. The final slash one was so cool. And it just makes me wonder how big Asta's sword is going to get. Urza's going to have it when she sees Heart Jalal Justice in the same room. She's going to lose a little bit. She's probably going to pass out. That'd be pretty great. Irene caused tons of problems in Fairy Tail without even realizing it. Irene did a lot. Zeref's level of influence is still extremely intriguing to me because almost everything in the story ties back to him. Also, really quick, I'd appreciate it. Just gonna shill really fast. If you haven't yet, I'd really appreciate if you would thumbs up the stream, and if you aren't already, subscribe to the channel if you enjoy. You can check out my other stuff. These streams are much more kind of just like chatting with with anybody who wants to show up. You guys want to ask questions, then you go ahead and ask. It's not so much as a constructed stream as it is just a conversation stream for, good, usually hour 15, hour and a half. Sometimes I lose complete track of time and it becomes horrible for me because then I end up exhausted. But yeah. When's the release date of Heroes? No current release date known, but should be soon. It says October. I've just been assuming mid-October. It just seems like the, safe ground to go. It could be early October. It could be late October. But... Soon, and that's going to be... the thing is, if it times, I think it'll come out right at the start of the fiscal year, so that'll be nice to see. One Piece, Dragon Ball X Toriko is the biggest anime crossover here, Hold My Beer. You said it again, you said Hold My Bear. It's something you and holding bears. But, yeah, I'm pretty stoked. The thing about the Toriko One Piece Dragon Ball crossover was still cool. But the thing that I think the Heroes is going to be better is it's going to be a continuous story. How long, we don't know. But I like that it's not just going to be a one-off. It's going to be, a weekly run for X amount of time, and we're going to get to see these characters, go through some form of little adventure on their own, which will be in itself just, a delight. We're going to get to see all the characters interact. And then one of the things that was lame about that crossover was... it had Vegeta, Zebra, and Zoro, not even participate. They kind of just, stood around each other and kept flexing on each other, the entire episode, and that was kind of lame. Because those are the big hype dudes, and you're not even having them in the adventure. I always watch your Black Clover review. It's good to keep it up. Thanks. Yeah, I try and keep them pretty good. I know a lot of people, there are people who do, live reactions, and then there's people who, spend a long time setting everything up. I like to go... When I review, I like to review it right after reading it. I usually do it once or twice and get an idea of what's going on and kind of assess of what happened previously versus, what's being set up versus, just kind of predictions in general and get a layout and a guess of how things are going. And then after that point, lament on everything that happened and then, theories and predictions that, do those as separate videos. But I think a lot of the time I get, I think I still get pretty close with Black Clover. Black Clover and Fairy Tail I usually get pretty close, not all the time, obviously. But I catch a lot of the smaller details. And then I also really enjoy when people, say, hey, you missed this right here. And I'd be like, oh, sweet, thanks. And then, one small detail that I missed ends up, piecing together really, heavily into either an idea I had or a theory or whatnot. maybe it ends up kind of completing an idea that was kind of formulated from a previous chapter, which is fun. It's always nice, and I like the participation and the help from, people that watch my videos. And then then there's some people that just try and like say things that are false, and it's like, what are you doing, guy? Haru dual explosion. The thing about it is Haru. I'd rather Haru use Revolt. He used explosion too much in the series. He didn't use like a lot of like Mel Force and Gravity Core. He used a Million Suns a decent amount. Once he got Revolt though, he just went Revolt because Revolt is all around better than all his other swords. I mean, actually, he used Blue Crimson a fair amount, but really, once he got Revolt, there wasn't a whole lot of a reason to not use Revolt. The only times I could really see dropping anything else is like Rune Save, Melforce, and Gravity Core. Because Melforce and Gravity Core give him like extra, mid-flight movement. Rune Save, gives him magic cutting and sealing abilities. Sulfurion a bit. I mean, it seemed like he was pretty good even without Sulfurion, just from the natural giant boost that he got from Revolt. It's gonna be pretty sick. I look forward to all their attacks. They're all gonna like meet up and probably fight again. I'm hoping that it's a continuation of the last Fairy Tail Rave Master crossover, and Haru and Natsu just kind of like remember fighting each other. I think that'll make it so much better. That'll make the whole scene so much better. If only Asta could use the Demon Dweller Sword the same way Lick could, but alas, to a beat. I mean, he probably will at some point. I did a theory video on that because Asta doesn't like... Asta is pretty much channeling the anti-magic out of both the book and the sword that he's using into his body to activate his black form. Logically, if he drains enough fast enough out of the swords, he can probably pull all that kind of like anti-magic in it, so it's just straight white, and then be able to use it in its natural form. And then you'd get something eventually cool like Asta in the black form with like pitch white blades, which would be absolutely just amazing to see. That, oh god, that sounds so cool just thinking about it. I talked about it before, but even just thinking about it again, just picturing the idea, it's so tantalizing just as a visual. Just imagine, just like, you just have this demonic character with these holy white angelic swords, busting down, ready to mess people up. But then what would Black Divider be? Because, I mean, we saw the full, like, the original power of the Demon Dweller sword, but what would he really do with the others? Like, because he's got the Demon Annihilating sword, and that's really good. Like, the way that it's kind of, spreads out, can have an AoE, Dispel. You have, I am intrigued on what his anti-spell will be for the Demon Dweller sword. Maybe it'll be something like, I don't know, create like a zone of anti-magic like below him, kind of like a little ground area. It's like, oh, if you go in this spot, you're gonna get anti-magic, which would give him more crowd control. He needs that. He needs that extra kind of trickiness to him. Where is this? I have I almost skipped. How do you think Aki would interact with Natsu, Haru, and Shiki? Well, Aki was an awkward little guy, but not in the same way as Shiki. He used to be bullied. He's super short. I think he's like as short as Asta, and he's kind of just a tough guy, a little prankster in a short body. I need to reread Monster Soul again before kind of giving a full out, because I remember he's a lot more immature than the other ones. He's a bit goofier, and there's obviously like his weakness of falling asleep pretty much anytime he came out of his Dia Wolf form. But I mean, he'd get along. The thing is, he's not nearly as quick to attack as like Natsu, and he's not as awkward as Shiki or as chill as Haru. He's just kind of like a goofy guy. I imagine him trying to play pranks on like Natsu, and that Natsu probably would get pissed off, try to fight him to get into a brawl. That'd be my guess, I believe. I highly underestimate the Demon Destroyer sword. I only saw it as a means to stop reincarnation. I mean, it's more like a status effect one, because it can affect statuses put onto people through magic, even after the magic itself is kind of like dissolved. It's kind of like an after effect. Like what we saw with like poison. I like it just from the fact that it's got an AoE dispel. It gives him a deep, pretty much a cancellation to a debuff, which is going to be really cool. Gives him useful, because Asta didn't have any support before. He was just straight like, their fighter. You put him in the front, you let him attack, and, he can still dispel magic. As you can kind of look at it a little bit as a support, but in reality, it's not the same, whereas now he's got an AoE dispel, which is pretty neat. I realized Drac and Joe's ship kind of looks like Brainiac ship. Yeah, I mentioned that. I mentioned that when I first saw it, because that was the first thing I thought of was Brainiac ship. Natsu's death is the reason Fairy Tail exists. I mean, yeah, that was like the big thing. There's still speculation that Dragon is still alive. I mean, I doubt it. He didn't have a name. I mean, he could, but it was the whole pushing point. If it wasn't for Zareth really wanting to bring Natsu back and do all these things, then you would have so many events wouldn't happen. Like, the guild never would have even happened. Fairy Tail as a guild would not exist, because Zareth never would have met Mavis, Yuri, Preach, and Warren, and taught them magic, never would have beaten Blue Skull, and they never would have taken over the spot as the Guild of Magnolia. It's very intriguing how many things tie back to Zareth, and that's, I think, one of the more heavy, intriguing aspects about his character, because a lot of it isn't directly, like, he's not doing it on purpose. It's just events and events and decisions he makes that just, trickle down and eventually affect others. Very cool for him. Dab on the haters. I don't think I've ever dabbed, and I don't think I ever will. I know, Majin. I can see your picture. How's it going, dude? How have you been? I see you on the Twitter. I at you sometimes on Discord, and then you never reply. Cruelty incarnate. Asta versus Cobra. I mean, that was a good one. I always was sad that Cobra, I think, should have gotten more to him, not just, like, in the main story. I like the spin-offs, because if you... In the Gajil spinoff, he actually teams up with Cobra, and I really wish that we got a Racion Sace or Crime Sorcery spinoff. I think that's one of the ones that really was deserved of of side characters, just because we already knew their backstory, we already knew their powers, we already knew their journey, and we know that they're all doing important stuff. Like, I'd be fully on board for a spinoff of Crime Sorcery, but now they're all doing who the fuck knows what. I mean, Cobra could show up, in the story. I don't... Was he already in? I have to go back and look. I think the only member of the former Racion Sace we saw in 100 Years Quest, at least to my knowledge, was Serrano, because she was hanging out with Yukino. I don't remember Cobra. He might have been... Did he go visit Sabretooth? Now I really need to go check. I don't remember 100%. So I know this is bothering the living shit out of me. And I always get salty whenever I run into questions about issues in the story of whether or not they tie into events. Small things like, was this one person in the scene? And it's like, well, now I don't remember, so now I have to go reread a bunch of stuff. Tayrax autocorrect is out to get me. How do I know that you're just not holding bears? It could just be holding bears. What should you give some action anime? What can you what up? Oh my god, what's up? Can you give me some good action or manga to read? Just action? You don't want just action, dude. Read Jujutsu. Well, not just action, but heavy action. Read like Jujutsu Kaisen or Chainsaw Man. They're still pretty fresh. They're still at a spot where, you can get on the hype train now and, really be some of them pushing people. Jujutsu Kaisen was pretty young when I started reading. I think it was at like chapter 16 or 17. And then Chainsaw Man, I've been reading since chapter 1, and I've been loving it ever since. I mean, it's such a good series, and all around it has so many odd, relatable aspects, but at the same time, it keeps tying in really strange things to really kind of tie the characters together. Like, when you look at something like, you have, for instance, Naruto and Sasuke. They didn't like each other, but they kind of had this mutual bond over the fact that they were both orphans, and, they had this kind of rough childhood. And then in Chainsaw Man, we just had the main character, Denji, and his rival character, Aki, have their bonding moment over getting revenge at the guy that caused the death of one of their friends by taking turns kicking him in the balls for, an extended period of time. And this kind of, tranquil, happy layout design as they're, laughing and having fun as this dude is just writhing as they just keep kicking him in the nuts. And it was a funny moment, but at the same time, there were multiple deeper meanings to it, while at the same time also tying back to events in the story, because it ended with Aki attacking him and then Denji getting back by kicking him in the nuts, and that being the first kind of events of their knowing each other, being that bad of a start, and then here's now their turnaround point of them kicking a dude they mutually hated in the balls over and over and over. So yeah, check out Chainsaw Man for sure. Check out Chainsaw Man. I kind of forgot how Cobra is a character, even though I knew it was a Dragon Slayer. I like how, unlike most villains in Fairy Tail, he has a sense about real friendship. Well, there was always that really, really like low-key Easter egg that was dropped, because they have, I always forget how to pronounce her name. It's either Kanina or Kiana. She's a member of the Fairy Tail Guild. She shows up after the Erasion Sace arc, and then you see more of her after the time skip. But she's actually Cubelius, who was, the snake that Cobra rode, it was such a weird thing to have. It was like, hey, do you remember that cool flying snake from that previous arc? Well, it was actually a person, and well, she somehow made it to Fairy Tail and joined, and it's not going to be important for, because it happened shortly after the Erasion. I don't remember if it was right after the Erasion Sace arc or right after Edelus, but this was still years after she was relevant, because she was in the Starry Sky arc, which is canon. So it's like, hey, we'll find out about this a couple years from now. You'll find out why I decided to have this snake girl join the guild. But it was fun, though. Sasuke versus Hiei, that is going to be such a destroying one-sided match. Hiei is going to get the shit kicked out of him by Sasuke. They're going to have to use a much weaker version of Sasuke. Like, if they use current Sasuke, he's gonna completely mop the floor with Hiei. Demon Dweller Sword, Black Flash. Black Flash? I don't know about that. It really depends, because the true form is, he can link up to people and, drain magic out of them into one attack. So it's got to be some form of anti-version of that. And I don't know. I can kind of imagine, I just imagine like him putting this black spot on the ground where it's just anti-magic zones, which would give him, again, like a good level of crowd control and zoning, because it'd be like on top of fighting Asta, you would have to worry about specific spots that if you step into them, you're going to lose your magic. And then Asta would have a means to kind of like add some kind of positioning into his attacks, because he could be fighting somebody and then be slowly moving them into that circle, get him in that, and then get that attack off where they won't be able to defend themselves at that point, which is, a very big thing that could be added onto his arsenal. And it wouldn't be a complicated thing. It wouldn't be like a straight OP thing. It'd be much more of a strategic way, which would be a nice place to, give Asta some development, because he's got some, like, the difference, though, is Tabana, because I have one of my friends, and he's like, he much prefers My Hero Academia over Black Clover, and I prefer Black Clover, My Hero Academia, but he always brings up the fact that, Deku is way more developed than Asta, but that's the point. The difference between the two of them is the story is about how much Deku changes over time, whereas Asta's about the journey he goes through and the people he affects, and as I've seen so far, Tabata is planning for a much larger story. And as far as we know, My Hero Academia could go on for, hundreds of chapters more. But Tabata said that he'd be perfectly fine going as long as Naruto or One Piece. So, I mean, that's going to be a long journey. And you can't nearly as much, like, develop a character as fast and then put him in that, that length of a journey. Because then eventually it's going to be like, what are you going to do with them? You're going to keep, like, 180ing their character into weird directions? I don't know. Gajul versus Zoro. Gajul would kill Zoro. I know that Zoro is more popular, because obviously One Piece is more popular. Gajul's got... He's able to take a way more vicious beating. He's been able to break metal since the start of the series. He can literally eat Zoro's swords in order to replenish his powers. And he's got a much more dangerous arsenal. Like, he can straight turn intangible, turn into shadows, move around, and attack him from odd directions. And Zoro has Haki, but what's that gonna matter if he absolutely has no idea where he is? And he's got no means of, like, tanking some of Gajul's bigger attacks. Like, he drops that Iron Shadow Dragon roar, and it's gonna completely maul him. And it wouldn't surprise me if he ate like Enma or Shusui and went into Dragon Force, and at that point Zoro is completely fucked. There's no fighting it back at that point. Demon Dweller Sword, I already read that one. What if Haru has Asta's swords and Asta had Gary's sword? I'm sure you mean Haru. It's sort of their perspective series. I mean, they would do fine. The thing about the Ten Commandments is it's not a magic sword. It's like they're like enchanted blades that can, the Rave Master, the power of Rave, lets you switch between them. And I really enjoyed aspects about Rave, but I wish it was more like developing the swords as the series went. I mean, it was always cool, but there was that special thing when Haru got his own sword, though. But maybe that was the point. He's got all these other swords, but they were, they weren't his. They were obviously his, but they weren't unique for him. Whereas Revolt straight, was made for him. And he was very happy about it. I'm hoping Asta gets something like that. He deserves his own, unique sword. But, they would do perfectly fine with each other's swords. They're both physically strong enough. They're skilled enough. They would just need to know how they work. Because, like I said, you could give Asta a sword, and he could use it, but it can't be a magic sword, because he can't use magic. Whereas the Ten Commandments isn't fueled off of magic. So, he could be able to use stuff like Blue Crimson, Gravity Core, or Mel Force. Asta with Sacrifar would be terrifying. Because that was actually one of the things that did bother me about Rave Master. Because Sacrifar exists, and he only used it once. It was like, why even give him this sick demon sword and then never really have him pulled up again? It was like, it's, you can have a reason for it, and it's dangerous, but at the same time, it's like, then you're just never going to use it again for the rest of the series? Why would you do that? Why would you even have that in the first place then? I didn't like that about Rave Master. I mean, I like those other swords, but even though I enjoyed Sacrifar as a concept, I love its design, I love its power, I didn't like its depiction in the series, because it was just like, what was the point of bringing it up if you're never going to have him drop it again? And I don't know, Haru's usage of the swords, I mean, he went with Explosion and Silpharion more than any other sword by, a lot. A lot. Until he got Revolt, obviously, and then it was just like, fuck the rest. I got Revolt. Haru versus Licht. I'd go with Haru. Thoughts on Marvel getting to Shonen Jump? They're trying to save face because their sales are garbage now. And they'll probably, depending on who the people are drawing it, they'll get some sales and stuff, because they're not going to be, pertaining to weird social justice. They're just going to want to make, cool comics, cool chapters about, because Takahashi did one about Spider-Man, and he captured Spider-Man really well, had a lot of really nice art, had a lot of cool scenes, and it wasn't about, Spider-Man being a cuck and sleeping on Mockingbird's couch or some bullshit. Whose rivalry do you like more than Haru's and Who do you like more, Haru and Mizuka's or Natsu and Gray's? I mean, that's a little hard one, because I like both of them. But the difference between, their rivalries and, a lot of others is they have a rival kind of character position, but their relationship isn't focused on them being rivals. I would have to go with Natsu and Gray, because there was kind of more friction between the two of them. I did really like the part where Mizuka made Revolt, though. I thought that was really special for Haru, and that was just a really cool character moment. And Mizuka didn't get some cool end of series battle like a lot of the other characters got, but he got to make Revolt, which was really cool for him, and I did like. That's a hard decision, but I can skim by a little bit and pick the Fairy Tail duo. Do you know about a person born with no arms or legs? Since my shonen protagonists have this ability of some kind, he could use cybernetic limbs and how to use them. Oh, there was the chick in the last Sayuki. She didn't have arms or legs. Which you like better, Eden Zero or Samurai 8? I like Eden Zero more currently. I like the layout of the series more, and obviously I really like Hiro Mashima. I like the blend of magic and sci-fi science and tech. But I do enjoy Samurai 8 so far. I know people have given it people are giving it some weird hate. I don't understand why. It's got a little bit of a slow start, because the entire first part feels like what would be chapter 1. It's all built up about the relationship between Hachimaru and his dad, and then the dark turn it takes, and now he's doing all the training stuff, and he's learning about his abilities and whatnot. And I saw somebody complain about them doing a tournament arc, I don't know, was it 15 chapters or something in? But no bullshit. Everyone loves the tournament arc. The tournament arc is just that cliche that everybody has will say oh god, we're doing tournament arc, and then 5 chapters into the tournament arc, everyone's hyped up because they're fun. Everyone loves tournament arcs. Ellie or Lucy as a waifu? I don't know Ellie, so I want your opinion. I like Ellie, but Lucy. Here's the thing about when you compare, you have Ellie, Lucy, you have Rebecca, even if you want to include in, oh my god, what was her name? I forgot her name. Toronto from Monster Soul. I can't remember how to pronounce her name, but Lucy is easily the best. She's got the most development. She's got the better story. She's still relevant this far into the series. And I mean, you have like a battle shonen, weekly battle shonen, and you're this far in. Usually the females fall off and they're not important anymore and they're just there. Lucy is still keeping up, and on top of that, she's intelligent. She's an award-winning author within the series. She's a profession. She was well, not part-time. I guess it's still part-time. She's a former professional model. And she's an amateur journalist, so like she's got a lot of extra skills on top of everything else. And plus, even from a lewd side, she's got Gemini, and if you were with Lucy, he could get Gemini to turn into a second her, and then give you a sandwich, Lucy's sandwich, not just a normal sandwich. So you know, there's the extra spice to it. Ellie is definitely good though. Ellie's nice, she's fun, OP with the Therion, but I don't like her as much as I like Lucy. I do like all her like crazy gambling addiction though. Like she was super into gambling at high stakes. When does it come out? No known date currently. It just is known to come out in October. I mean, we could easily get like the date later this week, maybe next week. Probably like at the latest, I'd say like the start of October. We'll find out the date for it. I mean, they said October, so it's got to be sometime next month. You think Eden Zero will be a success? I mean, Eden Zero's been, last time I checked, it's been doing pretty good sales-wise. I'm waiting for the anime because I think the anime will hype it up a lot because of the visuals that, about space and travel to crazy planets, robots and stuff. I think it'll look way better animated because there's a lot of really nice, like I said, like cosmic visuals about Eden Zero that look cool, but it's not the same when you don't have the animation, or at least the coloring, because when you see something like some crazy space layout, it needs to have that like mystic interstellar color to it to really get the full effect, versus you can have like a dragon or something fairy tale, you can kind of like picture any colors you want, any kind of like tones to it, it'll still look really cool. It's not nearly as vast in what is needed for the full effect, because the gap between them, you have something like when Acnologia first showed up, you had this dragon, and it could be any color, and it could be just an all-around breathtaking time because its display is this savagery of this monster showing up and being crazy. Whereas with space, you get like just pictures of like space, like what was it, the what were they called, the 12 dancing nights of Sakura. And they, you had like these crazy statues, and you had like the deep reaches of space in the background, and it's like kind of like unknown mysticism of space and what lies in the cosmos, and you need those colors in there. I don't know, it's kind of hard to describe it because I'm not an art guy, but I think you can kind of understand what I mean. When you think about space, you look at something like that movie Interstellar. I mean, you could have like the movie by itself, just like on planets, but you got that extra tone up from just seeing the scenery of space, because space is such a dazzling environment. I don't know. Battle of Fairy Tail Laxus versus Mereoleona. Laxus. Oh well, no, I'm gonna go with it's a hard one. I'll go with Mereoleona for that version of Laxus because she can burn magic. I mean, if Laxus had, it depends. If he has the Thunder Palace set up, he would win. But if he doesn't, then she would run through him at that point. Because what's he gonna? He's got like obviously power, and he's got the power to match her, but he doesn't have like the same level of wide range arsenal. And then obviously like Calidus Brachium is gonna hurt him a lot. I will go with Mereoleona for that version of Laxus, unless he has the Thunder Palace set up. That's exactly what I'm gonna go through. Yeah, no dabs, never dabbing. How about the Demon Slayer Sword for Jack of all stats, Demon Dweller Sword for offense, defense, and Demon Destroyer Sword of support? It could work. It's going to be something that I'm intrigued to see once we get his anti-spell for the Demon Dweller Sword, because this Demon Slayer Sword is obviously like it's increased offense. Demon Destroyer Sword or Demon Annihilating Sword. I don't know why Viz keeps switching between, but with that sword, it's much more of the support aspect of it, because it's a small sword, it's very short-ranged, it's not going to have nearly as much of the offensive skill as the other ones, but obviously that's not what its skill is. And the Demon Dweller Sword seems to be much more... like, when we saw Licht using it, he used it more for, counteracting spells than anything. Draining spells that come to hit him and then shooting them back. It should be more for counterplay, I'd say, for the Demon Dweller Sword. I think that's the best option for it, because really, like, when you have them... in reality, the best one, I think, is still the Demon Dweller Sword, given the amount that we've seen it can do in fully capable hands. But for Asta, I think the most useful one will be, will absurdly be the Demon Slaying Sword, just because for the fact that it's as big as his whole body, pretty much he can use as a shield. But also with Black Divider, it's going to give him, like, increased range. You can just clot it up. You can use it as its own shield. Like, imagine Black Divider, but he uses it, to block attacks for other people. It's too useful now with Black Divider to really kind of fall through. And I think that as of, until we get either Asta, getting a higher access into the Demon Dweller Sword, or, getting its own anti-spell, then his best one at the moment will be the Demon Slaying Sword. It has too many uses now that he has Black Divider up his sleeve. Let me scroll down. In the old chat. See what's going on with you guys and see what other questions. Hopefully I'm not too far behind. Likely I am, because I always fall behind in the goddamn chats. How many times have you watched Austin Unified? I watched it. Yeah, I watched it easily double digits. It's just such a cool scene. And when Asta busts through their base and you just see him kind of shoot out with that like little flash of red light on the black stream, it's just so neat to look at. It was just such a visually kind of boosting moment, and then obviously him teaming up with Yuno was just great. And I really liked seeing when Yuno was aiming Spirit Dive, he was using his middle finger, like the gap between his ring and middle finger, kind of as like a crosshair. I thought that was just a neat little feature that they added in there. Cobra is criminally underrated. I agree, he deserves his own spinoff. He was nice in the Road Knight spinoff. I would love to see just some... it doesn't even need to be like a full one. Give him like 3 or 4 chapters. Just have a crime sorcery spinoff, and then give a couple chapters to him. Switch over to Hot Eye. Switch over to Midnight. Switch over to Racer. Or I mean, if you want to go by their normal ones. It was actually really weird hearing Serrano call everyone by their normal name, and she was calling Racer as Sawyer. I don't know. It's weird. You get so used to them, and even after we found out their real names years ago, but still, I can't not call them as their code names, just because it's, I don't know. I've always liked it more. The code names make them cooler. Yeah, Cobra's pretty sick. Demon King symbol. Ooh. Haru was Sasuke. Wait, what? Haru was Sasuke. Haru was Sasuke and Ben Sanderson. Ellie was Ruki and Yukari. I don't know what that means. So regarding Kurne's robot arsenal, I think it's going to be another team battle to beat it. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely... So this was actually really funny. Because I did my Jose video, whatever how his name is pronounced. And I knew that video wasn't going to do very well, because I don't think anybody really cares about that character. Even in the fairy tale community, no one's like, oh man, Jose, poor love. Man, I really want to hear what this guy has to say about that guy. It's like... he's probably like, who is that guy again? It's funny because he was a big character in his arc, but he wasn't even the main antagonist of the arc. It was Gajeel, because that's who Natsu fought. And when I was talking about the Eden Zero, like in the Crimson Knight robot, I was like, man, Hiro Mashima, like I can't remember, like, giant robots for him. He's had mechs, but I don't know about giant robots. And I forgot entirely about the Phantom Knight, like, was it Phantom Knight Mach 2? Their big mech. I completely forgot about it, and because I was looking through the Phantom Lord arc, just to find panels to use for my Jose video, and I was like, God damn it, I can't believe I said that, and I forgot this big robot exists. And it was such a funny part, too, because I also love the design of the Phantom robot. I love the design. It was a really cool surprise, and yet I somehow forgot this guy existed. It just shows, like, I need to reread the series again. It's been a while. And I wanted to start a reread like 2 weeks ago, but I just keep getting distracted with other stuff. I need to reread soon, and it's going to be... I think it'll be much easier to do, because I think it's on the 27th, the box sets come out. So it's got, volumes... I don't remember if it's 1 through 10 or 1 through 11, but I'm going to buy that, and then, have that set up. Unfortunately, because of my fucking cats. The volumes that I have, some of them are a little bit damaged because, you know, they like to run around and play with each other and they knock shit over. So I'm going to keep those, and then I'll have the box set ones as, like, display, and then I'll have my unfortunately damaged ones because these two damn cats, you know, as the reading material, even though some of them are all ragged. Both of my cats right now. One of my cats is literally sleeping next to my manga right now, and one of them is sleeping on my desk next to my keyboard right in front of me, and they don't know what they're doing. They're just being horrible cats. I'm just kidding. You're not horrible. You're a good cat. Go back to sleep. But, anyway, let me get back to it. Yeah, that's going to be fun. That giant robot, I want to see Shiki punch it over. I think that'll be a nice thing for him. One, a cool moment. Two, it'll probably give him a little bit of an upgrade stat-wise. Maybe, like, throw it, because Haru is strong, Natsu is strong, but Shiki, because of his gravity manipulation, gets to be very physical. Well, he gets to throw things that are beyond his muscular strength because of gravity manipulation. I can't really say strength, but like when he lifted up the ship, like when he lifted up Rebecca's ship back when they were, they were on Norma, that was really impressive. Like Haru and Natsu don't have a lot of raw physical like lifting like showings. But that was really impressive. But obviously that was gravity manipulation. I think it would be really cool to see Shiki, pick up and throw that mech. Maybe not destroy it from that. Maybe that'll be unless it's his, finishing throw. I fully expect to see the full Ether Gear form that we saw against Elsie going up against this guy because we haven't seen it for a while. This is definitely a time where we could easily, drop and go all out to fight this thing because this is going to be a big mech. It's a gigantic weapon robot. We need to see it, and I don't think there's any spoilers out. I went and looked. I saw a little bit for the 7 Deadly Sins chapter. I'm pretty happy with the way that the last couple chapters are going, because it's always really rough. Because when I give when you review things, if you give a negative opinion on something, people always assume that you hate it. I mean, in reality, I was really enjoying all the Maelstorosa stuff with 7 Deadly Sins, and then it went really downhill. And I was upset that it was in such a spot that I didn't like it. And then instead of people knew, well, you just like to hate it. I'm like, no, I'd rather it be doing well and make me happy reading it than make me read it and be frustrated. Well, these last couple chapters are good, and then I saw the raw chapter for the next 7 Deadly Sins, and I like that. So, thumbs up. I hope they can keep up the consistency and finish the series strong. That would make me very happy. Tenka and Shinka hated each other at the beginning of the show, but it took battling each other to fully understand each other. And Shinkai will always be Tenka's true friend and rival. That reminds me of, what is it? Tyson and Kai from Beyblades, actually. Kurenai is... Yeah, I don't like Kurenai. Kurenai's a bitch. Even Zero and Samurai 8, I rivalry like Black Clover and My Hero. That'd be cool. The funny thing about that is... Hiro Mashima, when he asked, he was asked, I don't remember which interview it was, but he got asked of which manga he would see as a rival to Fairy Tail, and he's like, I don't really know, I don't really have that in mind, but he's like, if I had to pick, he picked Naruto, so it'd be pretty cool if with Samurai 8 and Eden Zero out, they end up as rivals, kind of post Naruto and Fairy Tail. It's like, okay, their next series, both space and combinations of their last work. You have old Japanese stuff, space samurais, and then you have kind of magic tech magic tech space stuff. So that'll be cool. Obviously Samurai 8 is, Samurai 8 has from what I can tell so far, much more powerful over, main cast, because he doesn't have anything crazy that Hachimaru has yet. But Mother, at the moment, still sits above anybody in Samurai 8, from what I remember, because she's absolutely gigantic. Second comic, Broly versus All Might. I mean, Broly would just blow up the planet. Draken Joe just came out of nowhere with an absolute showstopper. Yeah, Draken Joe is extremely intriguing to me. I can't wait to see where his character is taken. And, if he's going to be the next dark villain, is he going to be built up over time, messing with each arc? How is this going to go? His character it gives me such a nice, laser-like, chin scratch of being what is this dude planning? What is Hiro Mashima planning with this dude who's planning? I'm very hyped to see how this goes. Zoro versus Gray. I mean, Gray would freeze him. Gajo's immune to most of Zoro's moves as a stomp. I wouldn't say he's really immune. It's just kind of weird because they have high resistances. So like you should be, and with metal it just should be. It's not the same as like fire or ice. It's just straight density and like the toughness of the metal. And Dragon Iron, even at the start of the series, was stronger than Steel. So he should have. Honestly, I don't think he would really have a problem blocking Zoro swords, and all it would take is him to grab one and then, chew it, just bite it in half, and then bam, he's getting not only disarming Zoro, but he's going to be getting a power up from the swords themselves. So Zoro wouldn't be able to cut Ganjo's iron skin like he did with Mr. One. Oh god, that's like I said, that's the thing that's very overlooked when it comes to that. Obviously, Zoro cut Steel back in Alabasta, and you say Ganjo Iron Dragon, but it's not his skin and magic isn't just iron; it's dragon iron. And he even at the very start of the series, his iron, dragon iron, showed that it was way stronger than Steel, way more powerful. Like even Urza without any armor boosts, like when she fought Evergreen, like cut through Steel, and it wasn't just like a steel blade; it was a steel water tanker that had like a foot thick of metal. So she can slice through that, and when you have her with no armors, no boosts, and Gajeel is able to, at the start, straight up, like, chew through metal. You can't just compare it to normal steel. It's going to be way more durable and be able to take way more of a beating. And he's got all around, like, a better display of durability feats. He's got much more to do with his, because he's got his Shadow Dragon form, Iron Shadow Dragon. And on top of that, he's got more range. His roar has more range, not overall range. But he's also a lot smarter, because one thing we saw with his scuffle with Natsu in a couple chapters ago is Gajeel is a more intelligent fighter, playing off his stats, like how durable he is, using the force of other people's attacks to boost his own motions for his attacks. When Natsu went to attack it, he straight blocked it, he's the force from that backflip, and then brought his sword leg up. Like, he's definitely a smarter fighter at the moment. He's learned some new tricks. I'm thinking about doing a Yu-Gi-Oh! Zexal Arc 5 and Brains crossover after Brains is over. Dude, that'd be pretty sick. I was in disillusion that Brains was ending so soon. Like, it's only been, 16 episodes into this season. Why is the season 3 so much shorter? Like, it's only going to be 120 episodes for the total. And usually, the series are, 140. I don't know. I wonder what was going on, why they did such a shorter season for Brains. Who is more P? Natsu's burning magic fire, or Asa's anti-magic swords. Well, Natsu burnt time, so he can burn a concept of reality. His is much better. What's this about Spider-Man sleeping on Mockingbird's couch? This is new to me. Have you not read, current Marvel comics? Spider-Man they made him into, a huge loser. He, slept on his girlfriend's couch. He, lost his house, and then just, started bumming. It was pretty sad. One of the characters I'm making is a Yu-Gi-Oh! Looking character named Yume, whose ace is called Cyberus Data Link Dragon. It's a dragon and a Cyberus at the same time. Wait, is it a link? You said it's a link monster? Is it a link? Yeah, it's a link. How many links is it? He did Zero Tournament Arc. Dudes, don't get me too hyped. I told you, tournament arcs are it's such an easy way to get people excited. There's any, word you can slap onto an upcoming arc just in general to get people to, eyes peering over. It's tournament arc. You just have tournament arc in there and people will be like, what's this? What is this? What's going on? How big is this tournament arc? How many participants? What kind is it? Is it going to be a straight tournament? Is there going to be, what are the variables in this? It's just going to be all around hype, and I can't wait for it. And it's going to happen. It's going to happen. You can always assume there's going to be a tournament arc at some point, because there always is. I don't count the one that we just had in Chainsaw Man because it wasn't really a tournament, but there'll be a tournament at some point. We just need to be patient and wait. And with Fujimoto, his tournaments are going to be even crazier than normal shonen. That's going to be absolutely astonishing. I just know it. I got my hype set for that. I can't imagine studios coming in saying Natsu or Urza should be bisexual or whatever. I mean, that's because they're weird. I think Lucy's the best character Hiro Mashima has written. I would go with Zeref. I'd say Zeref is easily his best written character. Zeref's whole story is fantastic. Cyber's Data Link has the ability to summon a level 5 or higher monster from either player's graveyard and then gain that monster's attack points and then sacrifice that monster to deal damage. I mean, how many links does it have protection? This sounds like you could just, drop it and then bam, something like, what is it, acid trap hole or, bottomless trap hole. Is there no protection on it? And has it got anything else? It's just straight, boost up deal damage. I usually, like, the way that I run my deck, I like to always first off, pull out my ace, and then I don't want to say which cards it is because a duelist shouldn't give away their secrets. But one of the cards in kind of like build up for it has a protection on its in its ability, so I like to then bring that boy back up, guard up my heavy hitter, and then run through because then I don't have to worry about like traps and monster effects at that point. Haru Natsu Cheeky fight is going to be hype. I told you, this is how I imagine it. I assume that it's going to be related to the Rave Master Fairy Tail crossover that already happened, and Haru and Natsu are going to get in a fight again, and somehow Shiki's going to get involved, and Shiki's just going to be trying to awkwardly befriend them, and then maybe get involved in an actual fight. Or maybe he'll fight them, and then afterwards it'll be like Natsu and Haru kind of just, being mad at each other and having more of like a silly fight, and then it's just Shiki that wanted to be buddies. Because that's exactly how it's going to be, at least at one point, because we know how Shiki is. When I really think about it, I thank God that Black Clover has Noelle as the main female. She actually wrote the story. I mean, yeah, there a lot of the issues with some of the bigger like weekly Shonen Jump series is that their female characters are pretty bad. Like Sakura is ass. Nami sucks. I know there's gonna be some people mad at me. I mean, not all the female characters. I don't like Nami. I mean, but Bleach has Yoruichi. She's great. I like Orihime because she realizes like she's shitty at offense, but she's a great support character, so she just focused in the support. Noelle is great. I don't like Ochako at all. I mean, she's like... What's funny is the other day I was thinking, like, because I can name, like, oh, here's my favorite character in each series, and I was like, what are my least favorite characters? Who's probably my bottom? And I got to, with Black Clover, it's Soul. With My Hero Academia, it's so easily Ochako. I just don't like her character. I don't think I have since the sports festival, because that was the last time she was relevant. Oh god. Still funny though. Still wondering, but what would Urza's fake eye help her against Scarecrow's fear toxin? Nothing, because it affects from, it goes from like ocular abilities. His fear toxin is a drug that gets into your body. Her power wouldn't do anything to it. Asta Magna and Look defending Fenrir from Language Medias when someone says Black Clover's trash. I mean, Black Clover's pretty awesome. That scene alone, though, that was such a hype moment, and it's such a good part to see even back now. Merlina versus Dark Elf Patri. I'm going with Patri. Laxus is faster, stronger, and was stronger than Natsu and Godzilla together. Yeah, back at that point. I mean, yeah, but it's Merliona, I'd say, just because, she's got the magic burning, and that's obviously a big thing. And Laxus doesn't really have much of a counter to it. I mean, he could still pull through. I mean, it's not like, oh, he stomps, or she stomps him. I would lean more towards her because she has that ability to burn his magic. And Natsu didn't have that at the time, and it's obviously like a really big thing. So, I mean, he could drop something like Fairy Law, but, I mean, Fairy Law would take out I'd assume it would take out Merliona. It seems about that level, but at the same time, he's got to get it casted, whereas, is she really going to let that happen? I don't know. I don't think she's gonna allow that to what's the word I'm looking for? I'm just gonna go to pass. I can't remember what word I was trying to use, and somehow forgot literally mid sentence. Haru was voiced by Yuri Lothanol, and Ellie's voiced by Michael Ruff. Oh, is that in the dubs? I don't watch the dubs. What's up, Smarty? How's it been? Well, what's wrong? Even depressed? I don't have any jokes right now. I could give you a funny manga. Just read Needless. Needless is hilarious. It's probably one of the most comedic mangas I've read. What's wrong, dude? Tell me, DM me. What's up? Oh god, I lost my place. My cat decided to roll over my keyboard. Is the Fairy Tail game going to follow the series? It's gonna be... So from what I've heard, it's gonna follow from Sirius Island and onward. It's not gonna do the first, 200 or so chapters. It's going to be open world, which is going to be absolutely hype. And it's going to be like a turn-based RPG. So it's going to be the perfect game for me, at least from this information as of current. So I'm looking forward to that. So if you haven't yet, get to the damn series. Out of all the Yu-Gi-Oh protagonists, who had the most devastating dueling loss in their respective series? Jaden. In terms of a loss, Jaden. Jaden lost so bad against Aster Phoenix that he couldn't see his cards anymore, and it went through. He had to leave Duel Academy for multiple episodes, and then meet up with all of the Neospatians and Neos in order to like gain his ability to see cards back. I mean that was rough as hell. Eden Zero Turmeric, yeah, I'm super stoked. GMG Earth with not Akagami armor versus GMG Mirror Chain. I'd still go with Urza. On that one. One thing that screwed over Mirror Jane at that point is we know that she couldn't just swap between her Satan Soul forms a lot, because she says it. I think it's in her fight against Azuma. And she explains like it's different for Satan Soul versus something like something like Requip. Like Satan Soul takes. It's more about like the magic it takes to switch into the form, and then you're pretty much in it, and then it's like casting the spells. Versus like Requips are like, oh, short range switch, short range switch, short range switch, and then depending on the weapon and armor, obviously. Bro, did you see the game footage of Ferrito? Yeah, I'm pretty fucking hyped. Me just fucking Haru and Ellie. Yeah, okay. Got that all weird there, guy. I'm getting there, Smarty. I'm a little bit behind. If Godulate Zoro Sword, then he would get Armor Hockey and Boost and Stomp Sword. Yeah, Dragon Force Zoro, then it's not a fight anymore. Then he's absolutely just destroying Zoro. So Rack basically, Spider-Man in the comics became Peter Parker from Spider-Verse. It was worse than that. He was much more of a loser. He was born for the power of chaos from Zexal. I mean, chaos is, that's Yugi's thing. Yuzu's memories from Yuya. Ooh, don't be careful. Yuzu in the manga, for some reason, is Yuya's mom. I don't know why they did that, but it's very weird. Also, I don't read the current Marvel comics. Yeah, they're pretty trash. Elf Luck versus Raikage A. I'm gonna go with the Raikage. I mean, didn't he fight with the A-Tails? Cyber State One says there's a Link 4, and it's summoned with 2 or more non-token monsters. You can't even token it. What? Since Levy put Natsu in a carriage, where do you think Natsu went? He might be going toward Laxus's. I've seen that theory pop up. I think he's gonna end up with Gray. Him and Gray against Laxus would be really cool. I mean, Laxus is going to be a group boss now. I was gunning for Wendy versus Laxus, but as I said, it looks like that's not going to be the case now. She got a setup match, and it looks like Laxus is being saved for the big boy. So we'll see. Natsu and Gray versus Laxus would be so cool. I mean, otherwise Natsu might be heading to where Lucy is to go help against Mirror Jane and Elfman. We could see that. That would be nice. And it would give him like a cool moment to team up with her as well. 2 really good team up potentials. Him and Gray or him and Lucy would both be nice. 8 Gates Guy versus Word Devil. I mean, 8 Gates Guy. Well, so that's a hard one because Guy would like beat the shit out of him, but he wouldn't have a means to really kill him because he's just brute force. And the Word Devil would just kind of, he'd break apart, but he'd heal after that. You need to have a way to take out his heart with like some form of ability that would either negate what he's got or cancel it, or something that would be just anything to really deal with that effect. Not to burn magic, anti-magic, or like a seal, some form of canceling ability, anything like that. I don't like Soul. I think she's annoying. I don't like Soul. I just think she's. I just don't understand why she's so rude to everybody. I mean, we know a little bit about her backstory, but that's not like a reason to hate old dudes. I mean, it's very silly. And then, like I said, is she gonna hate Julius? And Julius was the Wizard King, Magic Emperor, whatever, whichever you prefer. But the thing about that, it's like, what, are you gonna disrespect the guy who's your boss's boss? No, I don't think you are. What about the king? Are you gonna be addicted to the king? And you're probably gonna die. And you don't have the fact that you're the main character or the main character's rival, plus like good deeds to back it up. We don't know anything that Soul has done, because Soul's also not done anything, and at least that we know of. I mean, she's obviously done things, but they're not focused, and none of it we don't know. Haven't seen anything from her that's like story-wise importance. Ash finally won a Pokemon League. Yeah, that was pretty surprising. I couldn't believe that. I mean, and his team was like his worst one against the Pokemon League too. I mean, I looked at it. The only ones that he had that were like, damn, is he had obviously his Pikachu, and then Melmetal, pretty much big buffness metal guy from the next Pokemon. Is Melmetal? I have to look up. I don't remember if it's the current gen and Lola, or if it's it was, set up for the next gen. Because I always have that cute Pokemon show up, one generation prior to get you hyped up for the next one. But, I mean, damn, dude, you really, you rolled into, like, he had a Rowlet still. He had, like, the dog one. Like, from what I heard, like, he beat the dude that he was fighting his Pokemon at the end by using counter. And it's like, that's such a boring way to win. It is lame. We're actually going to stream the Fairy Tail game when it comes out. Yes, I'm going to get it on both Steam and Switch, so I can play it. I can stream it on my computer, and you guys can watch. Super hyped for it. Super hyped. There's going to be a gameplay stream. The guys who make it are going to do a stream showing off. I don't know how long. I didn't see like a time of like 10, 20 minutes, an hour of the gameplay in October. So look forward to that. So that's going to be pretty sick. Haru should have introduced me soon. Oh God. Oops. I got something. What did I get? Oh gosh. Let's see. Oh, I got a super chat from a boy Smarty. Does it show up on screen? It should have showed up on screen. God damn it. Did it not? I have to look now. I have my stream paused, but I have the chat. Let me see. Hold on. I'm pretty sure I have it set up so I can see, when something happens like that. Because I really want it to, if somebody gives $1 or subscribes midstream, get that acknowledgement. Hold on. Yeah, it came up. Sweet. I gotta replace it. It's just a running zombie right now. It's a super chat. Yeah, I have donations. I haven't had I set this up before I had the ability to have super chats. So, I mean, Streamlabs, because with super chats, you need to have at least, I think it's 1,000 subs, and for, I think it's 4,000 watch hours, but you can still get donations through something like Streamlabs. So I haven't set it up, so I still have that running zombie. Here, I'll talk to you afterwards, Smarty. Well, help me figure out what to put on there. But yeah, thanks for that. Thanks for looking forward to the official My Hero Academia Bleach crossover. Is it gonna be just a chapter? Like I saw an interview. Is it gonna be like some pictures, or is it gonna be like an extra chapter? I think that'll be really cool. I want to see what. I know there's everyone's looking forward to interactions. If so, I just want to see my boy Renji. I just want to see my boy Renji. It's been a while, dude. Is it gonna be adult Ichigo, or is it gonna be kiddie or teenage Ichigo? That's very intriguing now that I think about it. Or it could be a kid one. You couldn't have Deku save. He couldn't really save Ichigo's kid, because Ichigo's kid is actually more powerful than Deku is right now. But I don't know. I mean, they could figure out something. You think Eden Zero will have a tournament arc? Absolutely. Yeah, Ash won the Alola League. It's so crazy to think about. Arc V manga was worse than the anime. Yeah. I mean, the anime had from what I remember, I need to rewatch it. It was those last couple episodes that made Arc 5 kind of chunky. I really liked a lot about Arc 5, but I don't remember the last couple episodes, and there's probably a reason for that. I liked it up until that. I really liked, I loved Yuya's duels with Jack Atlas, and Jack kind of, teaching him a lot of lessons and making him a better duelist. I thought that was great. Will Axis beat Mereoleona if he had Dragon Force? I mean, is it natural Dragon Force? Because the Dragon Force that he and Cobra have, or at least that he showed before and that Cobra has, the Lacrima-based Dragon Force is not very good. It's a boost, but it's not that much. I still want to go with, at that point, Laxus, only if he has the Thunder Palace. For Weiss and Gray interactions, I can see Weiss flirting with Juvie and pissing off Gray. I mean, yeah, of course. And then what's Musica gonna do? Musica's the dude that had a girl and then got, she got unfortunately X'd out. Sucks for him, though. If you know the gameplay of Persona 5, it's likely the same combat system as Fairy Tail. I haven't played Persona, but I know of it. Yeah, I'm so excited for this game. And especially if the game ends up being as good as I'm speculating after doing a little, somewhat of research. I am just so hoping for it to be, to get more people into the fandom. Gonna be great. It's gonna be so much fun. Claws of Light arises from an unknown world and open away in the future. Link summon, appear Link 4. What hell, man? You gotta have Link marker set, arrowheads confirmed. You gotta yell circuit combine. That's one of the funnest parts. I love that when they're getting ready to Link summon, it's like they're reading off some large computer process. You see it in the movies when people are I don't know, doing some launching a satellite and there's a bunch of people going speaking out specific lines. I think that's pretty cool. What do you think will be the big fight at the end of 100 Years Quest? Either Igni or Eleftheria. So just getting really quick into it. I did a video on it because the Dragon Gods are based off the 7 Japanese luminary days, but we only have 5 of them. The ones left out are the Sun Day and the Earth Day. And we know that Natsu is going to eventually become a Dragon God, tier character. And what would he be? Obviously the one left out that fits him, Sun Dragon. And what does Natsu mean? Natsu literally means summer. What is the most characteristic thing about the summer? The sun. Big, shining, bright, hot sun. So, you got a nice things to it. But what about Eleftheria and the creepy tablet thing that he's got going on? Like, I still am very suspicious about him. And, him becoming like some Earth Dragon God or unlocking it. And plus, I don't know how well this would go, but like the fact that he's the Law Dragon, and think about something like Law of the Land. So it's just like, I don't know. I'm reaching a little bit, but I think it makes sense. And the way that, like, what we've got so far, and a lot of it's still speculation, because Eleftheria is shady, but he hasn't done anything evil yet. He just got some suspiciousness to him. Pure the circuit that guides me to the answer. I mean, what do you got, Answer Talker? Soul doesn't hate Julius, though. Julius is one of the few people that she respects. I mean, yeah, but why would you hate all the other people? Like, what is Nozel Dundor? What is Fuego Leon Dundor? What is Real Dundor? What is Yami Dundor? I mean, he could probably go with Jack. But prior, what did William do to her? Like, at least early in the series. I don't know, I don't like the way she comes off. Because the thing about Black Clover is there's no, like, discrimination against race and sex and stuff. It doesn't even seem like it's of age. It's purely off of, like, your position of either your magical capabilities or your bloodline. And it's like, why are you hating dudes for no reason? I don't think there are any, like, characters that really treat, like, women very badly in Black Clover. You get, like, drunk, like, raw, generic criminal guy, generic douchebag guy, but there's no, like, straight characters who would be like, oh, you're not going to be able to do anything in this quest because you're a girl. It's like, no. I mean, they have, like, Mara Leona, and they had Aesir Silva, and they were both, like, crazy powerful. Charlotte and Dorothy, so it's like, you can't really pull out. It's, like, an extremely weird sexism thing that exists in there, but it's like, why do you need it to be in there when there is... you don't, like, the whole reason why, like, a lot of sexism existed because it was, like, capabilities between the two. But that doesn't exist in Black Clover when you're magic, and, any physical gaps between male and female, it's just like, oh, cool, doesn't matter, because magic is what decides that physical strength and stuff isn't. It's purely magic and capabilities of them. And also, I'm just reading back, getting to it. Thank you, Smarty, for the super chat. The crossover I read an interview. Are they going to do a chapter? I know. Kubo has been very bored. Like, he said that he's been depressed since finishing Bleach, and he needs something to do. And he did stuff for a video game. Was it Soccer Wars? So, like, if he does, like, something with Bleach, like a little fun chapter crossover with My Hero Academia, that would be really fun. Natsu versus Haru, who do you think is stronger? Who do you think will win? I'm gonna go with Natsu. I argued with this someone recently. The fact that Natsu's fire. And he can burn time. It can burn a concept. I mean, he's going to burn away the Ten Commandments sword. He's going to burn away Rave. He's going to burn Haru to nothing. And unlike something like his power that he had, against his fight with Mercephobia, or the 7 fire dragons he used against Acnologia, Natsu straight pulled out Savage Dragon Fire on his own. During his fight with Zeref, nobody showed up and boosted him. Nobody did anything to make him stronger. He himself pulled this power out, because we already knew from Tartarus and earlier in Alvarez that his magic, that he had some form of aspects, relating to time magic, because when Zeref stopped time in the Tartarus arc, Natsu wasn't affected by time. When Demaria stopped time, Natsu was not affected by it. He existed in, time stop, and then, Emotional Flame existed all the way back from the Aragorn fight within the first 6 months of the series, so you can't really act like that's not, that wasn't relevant, like, set up, so it's like, he's got these things, and he can pull them out. Obviously, it's dangerous, because anywhere that the fire touches while he's using it burns, like, his parts of his body away, but it's still completely accessible for him to, pull out and, use against an enemy. Dust Lyrock will always be remembered for being Ash's Alola ace and being the only one to destroy Ash's status quo. I can't believe... It's still, like, weird. Like, his team is so... Like, it's like, his most unimpressive team. In Diamond and Pearl... He had Torterra. He had a Torterra
that somehow could give itself like a boost form because it like used energy ball and then ate it, and then somehow that made him more powerful. He had an Infernape that had a berserk mode. He had a Star Raptor that, you know, dropped close combat on people. Like he had such a good team, and then he lost to a dude who's like, oh, Latios, and it's like, this guy's a Latios. What the fuck? How is this fair? And then he worked all the way to defeat him, and it's like, oh yeah, he still has 5 more Pokemon. And then he's like, Darkrai! And it's like, well, fuck this. I'm going home. That was such a bullshit, like, probably the most bullshit Pokemon battle ever. It showed up on stream. Okay, cool. Yeah, I was worried about that. Because I didn't have it set up the last time someone donated while I was using the Streamlabs. And anybody who wants to, you know, if you guys want to throw me $1, any amount of money is appreciated. And I'm thinking about getting my Patreon set up soon because, I don't know, I don't have any ideas of, like, large scale, kind of, like, Patreon tiers. I wanted to do at least, like, here's $1, I appreciate it. And then maybe, like, $3 or $5, you know, you get to be in the credits of every video being like, you know, thanks for making these videos possible. But then obviously for that point I have to learn how to edit that into a video. I don't think it'd be hard, but I'd have to go through the effort and figuring it out. But I don't know. I still want to do that because, like, I don't want to like try and demand money, but I just want to make it all completely optional. It'd probably be like $3. I mean, I don't expect anyone to be like, Rex, here's $5 a month. I mean, $3 is pretty up there, pretty all right. And then maybe like in the future, you know, if my channel gets further taking off, then I'll think of more things. But as of right now, we'll just leave it to any time anyone wants to donate. We'll see. Swiller Eisen is actually Deku's dad. I mean, fucking Aaron is pretty much Eisen at this point. My Hero Academia X Bleach is a weird idea. I think it'll be fun, though. Is he going to get... If they do that, I'm curious to how far it'll go. Are they going to have Deku show up in the Soul Society? If they do, it doesn't need to ever be canon, but give him a Shikai. I just want to see what his Shikai would be, because it would be such a cool thing. Because if you put him in the Bleach world, right? If he somehow got a Zanpakuto, then he should logically, you know, have a Shikai, because, you know, it's a sword that anybody with Ryatsu would be able, you know, pour it into and eventually get a, you know, a Shikai. It's not like, you know, certain, very specific to who you are, like, only certain people can have it. It's specific in that it's unique to you, but anybody who could, you know, has Ryatsu and has enough to put it in a Zanpakuto will eventually get it out. It's not like a quirk. It's not like you either have a quirk or you don't. It's like you can get the effort to get a Zanpakuto. But in Deku and Ichigo at the beginning of the series were at the same age 15 even, and Ichigo looked older. Deku's short. Like, fucking Ichigo was pretty tall for his age. Like, he was like, I mean, at least for the Japanese. I mean, he's a big dude. I mean, I'll look. What is Deku's confirmed height and then Ichigo's confirmed height? Because I know Ichigo after the fight with Aizen got actually a lot taller. Let me look at Ichigo height and then Deku height. I don't think Deku is tall, but I don't think he's like super short. Yeah, at the start of the series, Ichigo was 1.74 meters. Let's see Deku height. Deku was 5'5". That's close, isn't it? What is 5'5" in centimeters? 166. So I mean, Ichigo was 8 centimeters taller. That's like what, like 2.5 inches? I don't know centimeters to inches as well. But yeah, that's taller. It's not that taller. I think it's the art style that makes him just seem it. But also, obviously, Ichigo after the arc ended up way taller, and then Ichigo currently is much taller. How tall is he as an adult, actually? Hold on. I don't know if he has an adult height. I know he has a height after, in the execution. I don't know if he has one as an adult. It doesn't say as an adult. But yeah, he's 5'11 and a half final height. So yeah, he's much taller than Deku at the moment. Urza's more meetup. Yeah, that's going to be pretty sick. The honestly way to gauge Bleach's response... to gauge people's response to Bleach's return and what other people waited to do with the crossover is one of the hottest jump series currently. Wait, what a better way to do it. I mean, yeah, you should fit it in with a series. I wish they'd fit it in with a series that it fits more with, like, with Jujutsu Kaisen. Plus, Akutami is a Bleach fangirl, so that would probably make her super happy. She's probably jealous that that Horikoshi gets to meet him. So when you saw Zero for the first time in the series in a sad state, what did you think? I was just curious of, like, what was the deal with this, like, killing aura around him? I mean, we didn't even know it was Zareth at the start, but it was the fact that he could just kill things just by existing around him that made him extremely intriguing. Cyber's data has the same link markers and the same as Topologic Bomber Dragon. What was the new Topologic one called? The one that he used against Soulburner. Wasn't it like Topologic Ouroboros or something? Who was more of an asshole, unlikable GMG, Sting, or beginning of series Bakugo? Bakugo, because he bullied Deku for years. I missed my chance. I remember someone like talking shit about Black Clover, and they were like, someone was saying something about when they find the spy within UA and like whether or not they're gonna forgive him. And it's like he said like this isn't Naruto or Black Clover. They're not just gonna forgive this guy that almost got him killed multiple times. And I was just I missed my chance. But I was like, didn't Bakugo try and kill Deku within the first 10 chapters? Like during their skirmish, didn't he almost kill him? And he bullied him for years. So I mean he was like fully trying to push this dude to the edge. Damnatio is the new Danzo. I mean, that's intriguing. Damnatio, I feel like he'll be smarter than Danzo. Who's the worst parent, Kurenai or Ivan? Kurenai. Ivan got kicked out. We don't know a lot about how he was as a parent. He got excommunicated, so we didn't really see a lot of who he was like in his relationship to Laxus. Just that he didn't care about him. Don't remember how to spell his name. Who? Danzo. Oh yeah, Damnatio. You got Damnatio right, and Danzo right. Asta and Austin Yuno versus Licht, or Tanjiro versus Rui. Oh, I like Asta and Yuno versus Licht more. The music hype up was great, and then the way they boosted up Asta into the scene was fantastic. Exactly, doesn't make sense for sexism to Black Clover when there's magic. Yeah, I know. It doesn't make sense because that, obviously, like some of the parts that stem for sexism in real life were some of the things that men could do that women couldn't do, but that doesn't exist in Black Clover. Because, we already saw, like, the women go to war just as much because physical capabilities don't matter in Black Clover unless you are a straight combat mage. And it's silly because, these guys are pulling out magic. What reason do you have to hate all dudes? If anything, Soul is the one creating all the sexism in their world. She's the perpetrator. It's a little bit unfortunate to say that, but it's true. If your timeline was darker, more messed up. Future Trunks' timeline with the androids, or future Lucci's timeline with all the dragons. I think the one with Trunks was more dark, because the one thing I didn't realize while thinking about it is in the Trunks timeline, there are no Dragon Balls. So people in Dragon Ball actually have to, like, see death as actually death. And not just like, well, we'll just wish them back with the Dragon Balls. I mean, they're both, like, post-apocalypse. But it's the fact that you have, like, death in Dragon Ball has no real meaning as long as their Dragon Balls exist. And losing those is probably crazy, because then it's like, you probably think, like, every other day, like, if I get the Dragon Balls, I can do this. And then it's like, oh, yeah, shit. Well, I can't. Well, I'm depressed again. When I heard about Heroes, I instantly thought of Rex. Oh, thanks, Zion Warrior. I'm hyped as hell for Heroes. It's going to be so much fun. I mean, even this panel layout is so... Natsu looks a little bit weird in it. I don't know. I don't know why Natsu looks a little strange in this. I think it's because he's turned sideways and his face looks a little odd. But I love the layout, like, where each of them have, like, their backgrounds depicting their powers. You have Haru Light, Natsu Fire, and Shiki as Gravity. That was pretty sick. Sido pissed me off so much. The trainer came out. Yeah, he came out of nowhere. He wasn't even built up. He just appeared, and then he had, like, the pseudo-legendaries, and then you never saw him again. You never saw that guy again. It was so dumb. Ash should Mega Evolve Charizard. The fact that Ash doesn't Mega Evolve Charizard is fucking stupid. That's one of the reasons I think that people writing it hate him. Because he doesn't get things he logically should have. Speaking of bullshit battles, remember when Natsu versus Bakugo Death Battle picture showed you on Twitter? Yeah, that was silly. I mean, Death Battle... So the thing about Death Battle... There's the Death Battle, like, main ones, and then there's the, DBXs, where it's like, we don't do research, it's purely just, like, who would we want to, to win in a fight. And it's like, I get that one because you're not doing any research. The Death Battles, some of them are so terrible. All three of the Power Ranger ones are so inaccurate, it makes me sick as a Power Rangers fan. Urza losing to Zoro is absolutely bullshit. Natsu would not have a fight at all against Ace. He would completely curb stomp Ace. There's a bunch of silly ones where it's like, if you actually did research, you'd know the outcome to this. And it's such a goofy thing to put in there, and that you have him like, they called Natsu a bounty hunter. Natsu's like, they said he was a magic bounty hunter as his profession. It's like, Okay, sure. I mean, he's definitely not a bounty hunter. They don't just go around hunting people. I mean, it's something they can do. It's just more of like wizard for hire. I don't know. Asazon Pakto? I mean, some form of sick ass greatsword. Dragon Force Natsu versus Edie versus Fire Dragon King Igneal Natsu. I mean, his strongest one is the Ethereus Dragon Force for sure, and then it's probably the boosted. Well, the boosted Igneal one is not as powerful as his Savage Dragon Fire, but out of those ones, Dragon Force. Let me think. I would go Dragon Force, the Igneal boost, and then the E&D. Because the E&D we saw against Gray wasn't the full one. It was just a fraction of it. We saw his Ethereus power like stacked on a Dragon Force, and he was, mauling the shit out of Mercephobia. Would Asa's anti-magic swords be able to nullify Keto spells? Yes, because Keto, they're spells. They're just using Ratsu to make magic spells. I mean, it's really the same concept. Zeroboros. Oh, that's a sick name. I remember being like a Roboros or something, but I couldn't remember. I was much more focused on Soulburner that entire duel. Team ups I would like to see as Fire Force, My Hero Academia, Black Clover, X Fairy Tail. I mean, you're more likely to get that in reverse because Fire Force and Fairy Tail are in the same magazine, and Okubo and Mashima are friends, whereas obviously Black Clover and My Hero Academia are in the same magazine, and Tabata and Horikoshi are friends. So you like a likely reverse situation is very possible. I'm so happy Ash won. I wish Ash won like a normal league. Like, why did he win this one where he looked super dopey and he's got like such a not nearly as impressive team? Why would they do that to him? Soul's the thought. Yeah, I don't like Soul. One Punch Man makes My Hero Academia. I mean, that would work a lot better. Well, Evan did put a Lacrima Laxus, which could have killed him. I mean, yeah, he wanted to make him more powerful. He wanted to like make his son tougher. I mean, he was giving him a tough love. But then again, when you think about it, like being a wizard in general is a deadly profession. And if Laxus didn't get a good magic and get a stronger body, he was bound to die at some point from doing work. I mean, with those situations, obviously it was like extremely tough love versus Kurnai, who was just, the straight bad parent abandoning her kid. So both Happy's talking to each other. So that one's gonna be really funny. And then Happy is gonna find out that Happy Bot is a robot. And that's gonna be like an extremely hilarious moment. Kurnai also a worse parent than Gienma. Yes. I mean, Gienma was a shitty dude, but he didn't just straight ditch his kid to die on a planet. Like, and then like finally it's like, oh, you're backing in? Well, I don't care. You can go die. I don't give a shit about you. Like, geez, man. Cyber's Data would react to Odd Eye's rebellion. Oh, is he the fraction of sorts? I gotta say, My Hero Academia Bleach Crosser was something I didn't expect. Yeah, it's weird. I don't know if there's gonna be a chapter. I know they said an interview. I don't know about a full chapter. I haven't done the full research, though, so don't quote me on that one. I could easily be wrong. But anyway, the stream is going on pretty long. It's already at an hour and a half. I appreciate Smarty for the super chat. Always appreciate any donations and any kindness that my subs want to give me. Anything is appreciated, and all contributions and activities, as well as questions, are appreciated. I'm excited this week, because we're getting back to 100 Years Quest, and I can find out, I'm hoping, because I read the chapters right when they come out, and obviously I can't read Japanese very well. I have very rough skills of translation, and I just want to see the dude that showed up to fight Wendy show off the mark of Diablos, and then I keep thinking, is it Diablos or Diabolos? The way it's spelled. I'm just gonna go with Diablos for right now, but I just want to see him have that mark on him, just to for him to be a dragon, or him to be a damn spider dragon. War Devil versus E&D would maul the shit out of him, because his fire would burn away his magic and his physical attacks, and it would affect his heart. Yeah, it's too much for him. I wonder if All Might will be buff in the crossover. That'd be cool. I mean, yeah, a crossover you don't need to worry about consistency. It's just whatever, because you're more for the fun of it. Pissed off if any Fairy Tail member. Wait, if you would piss off any Fairy Tail member, who would it be? Bad idea though. I don't know. Probably Kana. I'd like to mess with Kana. It'd be funny to see she'd probably be wasted, so it'd probably be even more humorous. I want to see more of the connection between Natsu and Toka. We'll probably get more of that at some point now that she's present. Probably get more of them, meeting up soon once probably once all the controlled members of Fairy Tail are defeated. One thing that'll be really intriguing is if after defeated, if they don't come back, like they stay controlled and they have to figure out something else to do. But anyway, Thanks for showing up to the stream, guys. And, thank you, Smarty, for the super chat. Thanks, bud. And I hope you guys all have a rest of good of a Sunday and a good week. Look forward to 100 Years Quest on Tuesday and a bunch of other good chapters coming up. But other than that, I appreciate everyone who showed up to the stream. Thanks. Bye.